He's bought and dedicated an entire Caribbean island to the boosting and conservation of Madagascar's ring-tailed lemur, founded the Special Award for the Environment, and, perhaps most notably, a key member in the Ocean Elders organization. The group, made up of influential individuals in business, entertainment, and art, is devoted to raising awareness for environmental issues. Other members include people like Neil Young, Jackson Brown, and Jean-Michel Cousteau, Fabien's father. But what would become of the blue hole? Before we start, smash the like button, make sure to subscribe if you haven't, and hit that notification bell so that you won't miss any new stories. Our planet is facing many environmental catastrophes in recent years, and one of the biggest ones is that of plastic waste. Many influential people have decided to pool their resources together to fight the threat of plastic pollution and join the likes of Branson in fighting the good fight. Hopefully, with the financial help and influence of big names like Branson, James Cameron, and others, as well as grassroots organizations made up of volunteers, the oceans will get cleaner over the next few decades. But Belize's blue hole isn't the only blue hole out there. In Egypt, a different blue hole also faces the threat of pollution, as well as a different sort of danger to divers. The Red Sea is the northernmost tropical sea on the planet, stretching from Israel in the north all the way down to Yemen in the south. A biodiversity hotspot, its pristine waters and seemingly endless expanses of coral reefs, especially surrounding the Sinai Peninsula, make it one of the best diving destinations on Earth. In Egypt, along the Sinai coast just north of Dahab, the Red Sea boasts its own blue hole. Smaller than Belize's, Sinai's blue hole has a far grimmer reputation than its Mesoamerican counterparts. Unlike Belize's blue hole, the one in Sinai doesn't require a boat to reach. It's actually right off the beach, but accessing it isn't as easy as simply jumping in the water, and its proximity to land does not assure its safety. Sinai's blue hole is notoriously dangerous, and only experienced divers are permitted to access it, and even then, only when accompanied by a local guide. The reason for the hole's notorious reputation is in an underwater structure known as the Arch. The Arch is a tunnel which runs beneath the reef and connects the blue hole to the open sea. Connects the blue hole to the open sea. But due to its depth and confusing shape, many divers can become disoriented when they attempt to traverse it, often succumbing to nitrogen narcosis, a physical phenomenon that takes hold of divers at large depths, losing their way, and sometimes their lives. Due to the confusing shape of the Arch, as well as the hallucinations and disorientation caused by nitrogen narcosis, only very experienced divers are allowed to explore the blue hole in Sinai. The site is considered one of the most dangerous diving locations in the world, and it is estimated that over 200 people have lost their lives while scuba diving in its hidden depths. But no matter how dangerous the site may be to divers, the dangers humanity poses to it, in the form of pollution, far outweigh it. Cousteau, Branson, and Bergman were surprised that Belize's remote blue hole had been littered to the extent that it had, but even more remote underwater locales have not managed to escape the ravages of pollution. The Mariana Trench is the deepest point in the Earth's oceans, and when ocean explorers reached its bottom, alongside fascinating marine life and geological formations, they were able to spot quite a few plastic bags and other man-made garbage. The Deep Sea Debris Database is a project in which thousands of divers document the trash and garbage they find in their underwater excursions. Out of all of the waste recorded in the database, plastic is, by far, the most common. Other materials include processed woods, metal, rubber, and cloth. Most of plastic detected, 89%, originates in single-use plastics like disposable water bottles and utensils. Where is it all coming from? The United States National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration (NOAA) has sent multiple exploration vessels to the bottom of the Mariana Trench, and in 17% of the images their submersibles have taken, organisms can be seen entangled or otherwise engaging with plastic debris. But the Mariana Trench is one of the most remote locations on Earth. Deep under the ocean, it is far removed from any human habitation. So where is all this plastic coming from? A recent study conducted in the Mariana Trench indicates that the trench has a higher overall level of pollution than some of China's most polluted rivers. This is due to the fact that as plastics break down into ever smaller particles, they find it easier to float downward, eventually reaching the lowest spot they can, the trench. Ocean pollution isn't just due to waste being dumped directly in the sea, but also from rivers that flow into it, sometimes even originating in landlocked countries. Is there a way to stop this kind of pollution? The Great Pacific Garbage Patch is a large swath of ocean stretching from California to Hawaii. Roughly the size of Texas, it isn't, like many people often imagine, a huge island made of plastic bottles. Rather, it is comprised of countless plastic particles that have largely broken down to small flakes. While this may sound like it's a better situation, this couldn't be further from the truth. And the smaller the toxic plastic particles are, the easier they are for marine life to consume, and the harder they are to extract from the water. The plastic fibers found in high concentrations in the Great Pacific Garbage Patch, as well as in other parts of the ocean, can enter the digestive systems and even bloodstreams of marine animals. is indeed, plastic fibers have been found in organisms in nearly every oceanic ecosystem, slowly poisoning an entire populations. Well, but while this may sound tragic, some of you may be wondering how this affects humans. While the ocean may seem distant, the life of every human being is intimately linked with it. So many of the natural products we consume, from fish that we eat all the way to the trees and forests we rely on for oxygen, have an ecological connection to the sea. When our plastic waste hurts and poisons ocean wildlife, it ultimately ends up hurting us as well. Because the deep sea is the lowest point plastic waste can reach, it ends up accumulating there in staggering amounts. This is a very worrying find. Isolating plastic fibers from inside animals from nearly 11 kilometers deep just shows the extent of the problem, said Dr. Jameson, a researcher studying plastic waste in the ocean. This is global, he went on, explaining this isn't a problem that's localized to just one country or area. Well, plastic fibers have reached tap water, table salt, and other products man consumes, and they're not showing any signs of disappearing. Scientists say that around 8 million tons of plastic are dumped into the world's oceans every year, with over 300 million tons of plastic currently littering the seas. Researchers estimate that by 2050, plastic will outnumber fish in the oceans by mass. Elena Polisian, an oceans campaigner for Greenpeace UK, says that the oceans currently contain around 51 trillion microplastic particles, 500 times more than the number of stars in the Milky Way galaxy. If we don't act fast, the ecological ramifications of this will be dire indeed. While the numbers and research paint a depressing picture of the world's oceans, we can still take action to change this situation around. In addition to stopping ocean dumpage, it is important to drastically reduce our use of single-use plastics like plastic bags, cups, straws, and packaging. If you want to be more proactive, you can actively stop supporting companies which use single-use plastics and support instead industries that have turned to biodegradable, sustainable alternatives. With more and more people becoming aware of the dangers of pollution, there's still hope for our planet and for future generations.